Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Founder of Balco and Snac, Victor Conte, has passed away due to cancer. Devin Haney, who has worked closely with Victor Conte throughout the years, took it to X, formerly known as Twitter, and tweeted "Rip Victor Conte." Victor Conte had been battling cancer for quite some time, and my condolences go out to his family, his friends, his loved ones. Yes, Victor Conte has been a controversial figure in the world of sports, but he did resurrect himself as a man, as a person that want to give back to sports that he have damaged. There was people that and even including myself, that it was tough for us to accept, the resurrection of Victor Conte. But the great thing about it was, and the lucky thing about it is that I did a video in which I did apologize for not giving him a chance, because we all deserve a second chance, especially when you do the work to get that second chance right back. And I did a video around August leading up to the Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford fight. And I did a video apologizing that he did acknowledge it, in which he did post it on his X account. So I'm glad that I did say some great things and good things about Victor Conte. I know people that's close to him. Shout out to Demetrius Andre. I know Demetrius Andre, my boy. He's devastated about it. And Devin Haney, he's helped careers, as well. It was tough. It was tough because the reputation he had in baseball and track and field, and he was banned from certain sports. So it was tough for people to give him a second chance, but I think that he did his due diligence throughout the years, you know what I'm saying? And to keep it real, to keep it honest. He did his job throughout the years to deserve his second chance, and he got it from a lot of people in the sport of boxing. Boxing is the land of opportunity, right? They say America is the land of opportunity, but ain't nothing like boxing. Boxing is the land of opportunity. Boxing is a place where, people that have made even terrible mistakes, boxing has a open door policy. And that's something that's why boxing is my favorite sport. I always say that boxing translates to life itself. It lets you go through adversity. It makes you go through mistakes. But it also gives you the opportunity to resurrect yourself in a way that other sports can't, right? And if it wasn't for boxing, we would have never probably seen the resurrection of Victor Conte, how he changed his lives, how he adjusted, and instead of being a controversial figure, became a helping figure, an ambassador of clean sports. So yeah, and also I again apologize for the things I've said in the past due to content, and but again, I'm glad that I did apologize. I did a video, 20 minute video, and apologizing of my criticism of Victor Conte being in the sport, and things of that nature. But I had an opportunity to meet Victor Conte several times. As a matter of fact, he was one of the first person I interviewed. Years ago out here in New York City when Devin Haney was facing. It was the press conference of Devin Haney and Saul Abdulev, and he was the first. He was actually the first person I did interview. And it was concerning about 9/11, and also about talking about second chances and things of that nature. He was very outspoken throughout the years, yeah, and they was still skeptical about what was his intention in the sport of boxing, but everything just came out squeaky clean. Ever since the situation with him and Shane Mosley. After that, it's been years in where he was a good asset to clean boxing. So I had the opportunity also to get to know a little bit more of him when during the build up to David Benavidez and Demetrius Andre. Shout out to Demetrius Andre. After the fight, I remember what David Benavidez. Matter of fact, after the weigh-in, everybody had dinner. Victor Conte was show his. I'm not gonna say hospitality because it was in a restaurant, but he flipped the bill and everything. I understand why a lot of these fighters trust in Victor Conte. He was more than just a person just helping them helping these fighters in boxing, but also is a friend, helping these fighters, being a friend, being a confidant, especially when the meets Andre. Shout out to my brother when he was going through, the loss of his mother. Victor Conte was on his by his side. He was the primary person that was there for him, and I was and it's grateful to have a person like that, especially when you're on your downfall and you're on demon mode. So Victor Conte, he was a good dude. He was a good dude. If you got to know him, of course, the his past did get in the way of really giving him the benefit of the doubt. But life is short, and I think he went out he went out good. He did resurrect himself as a human being, as a great citizen to the sport, to the sport of boxing. And so shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to everybody that worked with Victor Conte. Shout out to his family, his friends, his loved ones. He was a hip guy. Shout out to Victor Conte. May you rest in peace.